guys, welcome back to the PanNerdia Podcast here on Twitch. Hey, Aaron here.
And I'm Robert. What's going on?
And as you can tell by the background, we're in a facility.
We are in a facility.
The facility. You guys know what
and
facility we're talking about.
I'm not going to say we're in the hallway. We're not in the lobby.
Right.
You know, like, we're not in the elevator. We're in the bathroom today.
We're in the facility of the facility.
Yes.
And we just came through the air ducts.
Mm-hmm.
And let us know if you guys see anybody in here. Because we think we cleared out. There was one guy on the shitter. We popped him with our silenced PP7. And he's out for the count now. So it'll give us some time to talk about multiplayer shooters.
I mean, imagine a world. Are we just talking about 3D multiplayer?
We're talking about the history. We're gonna go back to where it started at.
I mean, just imagine this: you're in a building, and there's people running around like this, and they're shooting at each other.
Right.
Sometimes they crouch. You know what I mean?
Sometimes their hitbox is way too low.
Right. Exactly.
Right. Or they're too tall for God's sake. Like what's his name? Not Lockjaw, not Jigsaw, Jaws. Just Jaws as it is. Jaws. But yeah, man. Let's take it back. Let's think about what's kind of like a real early first-person shooter. I'm talking about like one where like you weren't even playing the same game technically. You were, but one person was one aspect of the game, and one person was the other. And it had to do with ducks and hunts.
Yes, and dogs laughing at you.
Oh yes, that thing. But yeah, guys, freaking Duck Hunt. I think that was
absolutely
one of the first multiplayer shooters. I mean, we were thinking about it before the podcast, and we're like, what kind of really started it? And we're like, we got Contra, blah blah. And we'll get to those, but ultimately, I think it came down to Duck Hunt because think about it. It was like it was on NES. It was a shooter game.
Mm-hmm.
Very early. You did it with a friend. You played with a friend. You can play by yourself, but what was interesting though, it was one of the first outside of arcades, I think, that had like the gun controller you could use.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Right?
Yeah, but then you can also think back to arcade shooting games.
Yeah, which is like.
Well, I mean, Asteroids.
What was that one you thought? What was that one you found earlier? What name of?
Oh man. I just had it. Lethal Enforcers.
Oh yeah.
Lethal Enforcers.
Like
the
bowling alley.
That was like the bowling alley, like red and green shotgun.
Yeah. You guys remember those, right? Well, those are more 3D, but yes, those had those controllers as well. But I think Duck Hunt, man, was one of the first until like you get into like Super Nintendo stuff like Contra.
Yeah.
Which was another. You were with a buddy. It was a co-op essentially, a multiplayer shooter. You weren't really fighting each other at that point. But you were trying to beat the same cause.
We're talking, I mean, they had co-op, yeah, but we're talking about just like player versus player, or play, you know, like.
Or you play with each other.
Or multiplayer type gameplay, or player versus computer, you know.
Right. And I mean, from there, as far as shooters, there was a lot of other shooters in early consoles. You had like. We can touch on like, there was Metal Gear, and then open up like the espionage branch of stuff where you eventually get into like all the Tom Clancy stuff, Rainbow Sixes, you got Splinter Cell, all that stuff, which we can consider shooters, but they're not necessarily multiplayer, right?
Right.
Those kind of branched off, and then we eventually get into stuff like, Doom, which is Doom, like Duke Nukem, stuff like that,
right.
Quake, stuff like that.
My earliest computer game was... what I mentioned earlier. Oh, Unreal.
Unreal, which is another one. Yeah, and that was one of the first online shooters for the most part. I mean, introductions, like kind of like how Counter-Strike was too. But like those are getting into 3D shooters. Doom, Quake, and those when they first came out, they had that weird like there was 3D like maps, like the map was 3D kind of, but your guy was totally like pixel art, like a sprite, right? And you switched to your stuff, and it was first person shooter. They eventually had like Quake tournaments and stuff, so. That kind of started branching out in those multiplayers too. But it wasn't, until you get to something like the N64 and a PlayStation that you start really getting kind of the things that would eventually set the precedent,
Yeah, and those things would be like Red Faction.
Red Faction.
You'd have Call of Duty in there.
Call of Duty's there, one of them. You got your other ones, like you got your classics like Time Splitters, which is multiplayer and stuff and stuff like that. But what it comes down to, what all those games kind of evolved from, or kind of pretty much built, were inspired by, was, well, what we got behind us here. GoldenEye 007 on the N64, man.
Mm-hmm.
Rare, who developed it at that time, Rare, the British company, game developing company, one that did like all the Donkey Kong games back in the day. They do like Sea of Thieves and shit nowadays. They still own the Perfect Dark stuff, but they don't own any 007 rights anymore. But they created that game. They kind of set the standard for first-person multiplayer shooters, man. I mean, dude, what is some of your best memories from GoldenEye, bro?
GoldenEye, man, it was just like, my favorite was just putting in the cheat codes and playing with your cousin or your friend or whatever, and you just got big heads and you're running around.
DK mode.
You know, you got all the mods and stuff, like all the passwords.
Dude, yeah. Well, remember too, you back then you had to unlock all the cheats by beating certain things in the game. I think, or you got Game Shark. You know, Game Shark did it too. But otherwise, in 007 at least, you can unlock all that stuff just by beating certain levels and shit.
Right.
Which is pretty cool. Like beating your time trial, basically, to beat the level faster.
Yeah.
But dude, it's so much fun, dude. Hours spent playing that game, from multiplayer to even single player. Man, I loved playing single player and putting the cheats on there, trying to beat it faster, trying to play it on hard. When I was young, I played it, and when I did the story mode, I didn't try to beat the missions like perfectly. Once I got a little older, it was still in that era, but a couple years into it, because that game was hot for a few years, dude. I got to the point where, you know what, I played it, and I tried to beat every mission like exactly and get it perfect, and it got you good at the game, man. It was a lot of fun. Dude, they had remakes of it eventually. It was directly based off the film because it had Pierce Brosnan, James Bond. That was him as the James Bond, and that's kind of how I pictured James Bond at that point in my life. Like, he was the James Bond that first entered my psyche in terms of pop culture, was the Pierce Brosnan James Bond, based off of the GoldenEye video game.
Right.
I didn't even know about what's his face. Come on, first James Bond, Scottish guy. Tip of my tongue. Help me out here.
Yeah, it was Pierce.
Not Pierce. No, Scottish guy. Beard. Connery.
Sean Connery.
Sean Connery. Fuck. I had to work that out, man. It was right on the tip of my tongue.
Up yours, Trebek.
Trebek, yes. An album cover. An album cover. Trebek. Yeah. So, Sean Connery, James Bond. I didn't even know about him when I was younger and stuff. It was Pierce Brosnan, James Bond was the first one, right? So it was just,
right.
Dude. I had so much fun playing the game. Hours and hours spent, dude. I mean, the bunker. You remember the bunker, man? That was one of my favorite levels. The level we got to drive the tank in.
Yeah.
Dude,
I was just thinking about all the times that I was playing that game where I didn't play it to the point where I knew everything. I didn't know really the James Bond story that well.
Right.
So it was just like a fun game to me, and I learned based off of the interface of the game, and not just the like knowing the whole story and stuff. I didn't get to hold that side of it.
Yeah.
But definitely all these games are like things that we grew up with. You know, like it was the things that we got to like sit down and like imagine you being somewhere else for a second. That's where gaming got started, you know, like it gives you the ability to keep your imagination alive and see things that are created for you to be viewed because they're works of art.
Right.
You know, and just the shooting game is the correct interface for you to be able to interact both with your mind and also be able to interact with your kind of imagining your body doing these things, because it's really simple, like tasks, throw, do, you know,
right,
like
yeah. And when you introduce it with your friends too, it's like, you know, the first 4-player, you know, the 4-screen, split-screen blocks.
Yeah.
You know, and it was real. You're on the small CRV TVs playing it with your friends, and you're like, ugh. And then eventually it evolved into fucking people having, you know, essentially LAN parties with like Counter-Strike and stuff, which is like I would say like the next level. Even before like Call of Duty and like Medal of Honor and all that kind of got big, it was Counter-Strike, dude. And that was like the first online multiplayer gun games to really set it off competitively, you know.
Do you remember the over there in Granite, that place? What was it? It was like a storefront that they had a bunch of computers, and you could like rent time to be on the computers and play like their games and stuff.
I don't remember that place. I don't think I do, at least. Anyway.
But yeah, I used to go there and play, like, because my parents would be like, we'd be going to get something to eat, and then I could be like, hey, I'm going to go, go down here, and can I go play some games for a little while? They'd go watch a movie. They'd go to the movies or something while I was in there.
Oh, wow, yeah.
Playing video games, man.
It was like your arcade in a way, right?
Right.
That's funny. Yeah, I didn't really ever do too many arcades, unfortunately, when I was younger, just because that's when home consoles started coming out a lot. And I do remember, though, renting an N64 before I actually ended up buying one. I remember I was like, I went to Blockbuster. This is back when Blockbuster rented consoles, all right? I remember me, my dad, and my brother were there, and they had it on display where you can play it, and N64 set up with Super Mario 64. Granted, it's not a shooting game, but what I'm getting at is we thought it was so funny to see little 3D Mario running around. We were laughing our asses off. I don't know why we thought it was so funny. It just looked weird. Our eyes have not adapted to that yet, right? Because they're getting just 3D models. And so we rented it. Dad let us rent it for a weekend, and we played it. And then when Christmas rolled around, we got an N64 for Christmas. So that's when we got into all the Mario games, and it wasn't soon after we got GoldenEye. And dude, it was just like, it was over after that, man. But then down the street, my homie, he had Counter-Strike, and that's when I first introduced. He's like, yeah, man, we play Counter-Strike, blah, blah, I'm online playing people. I was like, what? He's like, yeah, we have our friends come over. And then I didn't understand until I saw it one day. They actually would bring their computers over to the other person's house and set up all their computers on a local area network. Yeah. Connected in.
Man, yeah, that's basically what that storefront was. It was like a LAN, like people would be in there like LAN.
You have like LAN parties and shit. That's pretty dope. So there you go, man, and that started a whole revolution into like the newer modern era of the shooters, where like Call of Duty and all them. Granted, they have their campaign modes, but it was really multiplayer. And one of the big ones, Halo, right? So you had the more realistic Call of Duty franchise. You had the futuristic space Halo franchise, and those blew up the multiplayer mode. What are some of your memories and experiences with not only Call of Duty but the Halo franchise as well? I mean, did you play Halo as much as Call of Duty? Did you play Call of Duty more than Halo?
No, I played Call of Duty a lot more than Halo. I didn't ever really get a chance to play Halo, so I didn't really go for it.
Right.
So I was too busy with Call of Duty apparently.
Yeah, man. I mean, I definitely played Halo from the get-go, but I didn't have an Xbox growing up. All my buddies did, so I only played it when went to like their houses and stuff like that. But always had a lot of fun playing it as well. I wish I would have had it because I had buddies in high school. I had a friend who was considered a pro Halo player then, but it was like back then. That's before anybody was really getting into knew anything about esports or anything. So like you hear of your buddy becoming a professional gamer, you're just like, what? That's crazy. Oh well, blah blah blah. But it was a real thing. It was starting to happen between that and then Call of Duty and then the infamous era of people shit talking online. That was like those were the years. That was the era of
that got a little out of hand.
It definitely got out of hand. People said some evil shit on there, dude. Oh man, yikes! That was a weird era. Because nowadays, you can like turn people's mics off. People can still shit talk, but you can mute people and stuff. And
man, but it was like Why would people get so vicious?
In the early days, man, it was like this savage land. There was like no rules, no barriers. It was just like, it was like fucking, what do you call it? Unclaimed waters or whatever.
Right, and it was just like everybody had a frenzy. It just so happened that games got to the point where games and the speed of internet was just right.
Yeah.
You know, and we all were like, yes, look what we can do now.
Well, dude, I wouldn't even talk about these shooting games, but fucking the original Star Wars Battlefront games.
There you go.
What up, Domino? What up?
Sup, up.
Don't worry about it, man. We're talking about multiplayer shooting games tonight. So we've already delved into some of the originals, you know, from like Duck Hunt and Contra, Doom, Quake. We talked about, of course, the OG GoldenEye. And now we're kind of rolling into the modern era, talking about Counter-Strike, Halo, Call of Duty, stuff like that. And then I was mentioning that, do you guys remember the first Star Wars Battlefronts? Not the ones that just came out a few years ago that everybody hates from EA. I'm talking about the Star Wars Battlefronts that started it off, the legit ones. Those were so much fucking fun, dude. But I remember that was Star Wars Battlefront 2, I believe, was the first game I tried to play online with. And I did it with, it was the PlayStation 2. Yeah, it was the PlayStation 2, which is crazy. They had online. You can actually hook up the PlayStation 2 Slims online, and I plugged it into the dial-up, and it was so choppy and shitty. It was horrible, right? But that was my first instance of playing online. Online shooter was with Star Wars Battlefront 2, man. And those games, do you ever play those?
I played Battlefront 1 and 2.
Yeah, those are great.
That game was cool, but it was just like, it was like free-for-all. Like, that's all it was. Like, giant free-for-all.
Pretty much. You had two big teams. It was like Battle Royale. Star Wars Battle Royale. It was like Star Wars Battle Royale before Battle Royales were Battle Royales.
Basically.
Because it was like too big. It was like giant battles. And you could claim flags and stuff. And oh man, that was I miss those games, dude. Here, scoot in a little bit. You're too far out. There you go. Okay. You're out of the picture.
Sorry about
that.
Sorry about you, man.
Sorry about you. Yeah, dude. So anyway, yeah, back to like Call of Duty, man. And Halo and all those, dude. Fucking Call of Duty. So many iterations. But I think the one me and Robert both agree on that we played a shit ton. Him way more than me even. Black Ops 2.
Oh man.
Tell me about some Black Ops 2, Robert, boy.
Well, when you start putting together your loadouts to where you don't even care anymore.
Right.
Like it's like you are literally just trying. You got good enough to where you're playing all the different with all the even the crappy weapons, just to have some fun. You know, just like because you're good enough to still win, and have all your weapons like not even have attachments and stuff like that. That's where you got really good at that game. You know, just putting in hours.
Right. Yeah. That really was. That's where I noticed I got better, was just putting in the time in the game. Because I put a lot of time in that one. That was the only Call of Duty game I've ever put that much time into.
Right.
I think that was the only one I actually ever owned myself.
Really?
Yeah, I think, yeah. One of the Call of Duties. I played all of them on different friends' consoles. I've rented them and all that. But I think the one I actually owned and just got really good at was Black Ops 2. I had it on PS3. Is that what you had yours on? Or you had it on Xbox?
I played it on Xbox.
Xbox 360?
360.
Donald says, love EA's motto, EA Sports, it's in the credit card. Yeah, they do. They put paywalls behind shit. That's why people hate them now.
Right.
Donald says, yes, BO2 is the GOAT. My friends and I still play today. We play the game we call a gun game torture. Gun game with headshots only. Setbacks are 10 guns. A good game can take over an hour. Damn. So he's still Black Ops 2. That's dope, dude. It was a good game, man. That sounds like a pretty fun challenge, doesn't it, Robert?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It was. We loved that game, dude. You know what was always really fun with Call of Duty games too? The zombie mode. That was always fun. That's what
zombie mode was fun.
Our cousin Derek was like a beast at zombies, dude. He could like literally, hold records if he wanted to on the trials.
Really?
Yeah, he gets.
Yeah, see, I didn't like play
like 12-hour fucking
sessions. I didn't play zombies that much. I played mostly just online multiplayer.
Right.
I was stuck in that world.
Dude, it was fun, man. I know you told me you'd like fucking have the headset and you'd like get right up by the screen and just be like immersed in it.
Oh yeah. No, yeah, we had a 60-inch TV, and I would sit like probably
like
3 feet,
right comfortably in your peripheral.
3 feet from the it's like.
That's awesome, dude. There's the thing now, these games like Call of Duty and Halo, though the franchise is kind of gone now with its its company shift and everything and all that. They pretty much started off the super competitive, besides Counter-Strike, but super competitive scene of multiplayer shooters. The point where like Ninja, he started by being a professional Halo player, man. That's where he got his start. And
he learned a different dynamic. He wasn't so stuck to the ground.
Right, exactly. Exactly. And you start playing with teams too like that. You learn from other people who are really good. You start picking up other strats. But it was just interesting, and now how it's starting to evolve slowly but surely. Hold on real quick. When you get like 7 people in a lobby, it's amazing. And zombies is cool too. My favorite map is probably Buried, the underground western map. I don't know if I remember that one. Was that from Black Ops 2? Probably was, dude. I don't even remember, to be honest. But what's crazy now is this evolution and this sudden like upburst of the battle royale genre of shooters, right? Which is multiplayer shooters on crack. We kind of mentioned it with the Star Wars stuff, but you have, I think the one that kind of really set it off, which was PUBG, I think. You have it's a battle royale. It's you versus, it's 100 people total on the map. You all run into one map together. You get your weapons. You're scattered about. You get pushed in by a series of circles based in rounds, and then the last person standing is the winner. It's a really cool concept. I think it was actually conceptualized by inspired by a Japanese movie that had something to do with battle royale, and it was like all these guys got dropped on an island, and all they had was they started off with their underwear, and they just had to run around and collect items like clothes and armor, and then the weapons, and then they had to start taking each other out. And it was whoever won. It was the last person standing won this competition. And that's what I think PUBG was mainly based off of, right?
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah, yeah, dude. And then that spawned many others. Like, what was I never played H1N1, H1Z1. What was that one called? Do you remember the name of that one?
I don't remember that one.
It got canceled or whatever, but it was one that Ninja played PUBG, played that game, and then of course you get Epic's Fortnite comes out, and
there you go. See, that game is just like perfect.
Pretty much in terms of what it's trying to accomplish.
They basically made what looks like honestly I'm not even dogging it because it looks good, but it looks like a mobile phone sort of gaming setup. Like you're paying for the seasons or whatever, you have to buy a pass and stuff like that. It's making it very much like a mobile game setup, but with a more of an interface, and it's just like really super good. There's like, as far as mechanics, it's just like exactly what you expect it to be.
Right.
When you see it, when you get something new, like any sort of new weapon or ability or whatever, it's like basically at a point where you know exactly what you're getting into. Like, come on, man! Like when I saw Boogie Bomb, I was like somebody's about to dance.
Dude,
first time I saw it.
What I like about it is the fact that it's always changing. Pretty much battle royales in general. It's like you have to adapt each round or each game you play, you're adapting.
So that game is both consistent and always changing.
And
it's like
they got the seasons. And hey, most of these battle royales are free. I don't think PUBG is, but most of the other ones are, and it's a crazy new concept with the building added too. It just cranks it up. Dynamo says they're neat, but he goes, man, they're overused. He says Minecraft Hunger Games is the OG battle royale. I did hear that, but is it a shooter? I never played Minecraft, man. I never got into that era. It was just I was ahead of that, I guess, or after that.
Yeah, Minecraft. I mean, you had like bow and arrows. That's like part of like a kind of a 3D world thing, though.
Yeah,
it is a multiplayer, but I wouldn't consider it
a
shooting game. I would consider it more of a multi-function sort of game,
like an MMO or something.
Yeah, where it, I mean, which it has a great kind of shooter, really basic like kind of mini game when you're shooting at somebody.
Right.
I don't think it's a game within itself though.
But yeah, man. I mean, these battle royales, they're still going too, because even shit like Battlefield and Call of Duty, they're taking a page from the battle royale book too. And with their newest games, Black Ops 3 and is it 3 or is it 4? 4 just came out. 4 just came out. They have a battle royale in it. I've never played it. Apparently, a lot of people don't really play it that much, but they have it, and it's like all the maps from all the old games, like including Black Ops 2 and shit.
See, that's what kind of had me fall back, is because like Modern Warfare 2 was also a big game for me. That's where I started out, like even playing that game,
Right.
And all those maps for Modern Warfare, it's like we can't just get them, And now we're starting to get it. You get them, and that's what is making me want to play those games again. Is that I can play on those old maps where I really learned how to play the game.
Right.
And I can really show how good I am, because I'll have a few comfortable spots to sit down and go, okay, I know how to play this map,
Yeah, I appreciate the backwards compatibility aspect to bringing back old ones, because, dude, I mean, you learn certain maps so well. You want to go back and test your grid on them again at some point without having to necessarily dust off the old game, unless, of course, you backwards have it compatible. But shit, if you can put it in just the new games, implement it with some new graphics or textures or whatever you got to do, fuck, man, that's fun, man. Or like, I know as they upscale and graphics and get better, eventually it's going to be harder and harder to do that, but maybe it won't be. Maybe it'll just be easier to integrate that kind of shit. That's one thing cool about Fortnite, at least. That map changes a lot.
Right.
I mean, if you look at it now, like the actual map view of what it looked like from season 1 to now, it's crazy. It's actually gotten bigger too. It's slowly but surely getting bigger. So it's a matter of time if when they want to split off to another island or have multiple islands or something.
Right.
PUBG does.
Yeah, and I think that all these games are really pushing, the envelope, and really trying to push, the progression of online gaming, player versus player gaming.
Right.
Because that's really the pinnacle of what do you call it? The pinnacle of just having to try to beat more people,
Right. It's competition and shit, That what you're saying?
Yeah, competition, it's a way more competition, because you're basically essentially fighting other yous.
Yeah, I mean, you all have the basic tools of this game. Now it's to see how you can master it and maybe find something new that even the devs didn't know,
Right.
Shit, you got those crazy things where people remember those crazy Call of Duty shots where people were throwing fucking throwing axes or knives over 5 houses and killing somebody without even seeing them or some stupid shit?
Oh, playing multiplayer?
Yeah. Just doing really weird trick shots or other weird shit.
I had a couple videos, I can't remember even where they're at, but they're me doing some C4. When we got the ability to actually make clips of our gameplay, throwing C4 and stuff over the walls and just hurting people's feelings. Because I would just anticipate where they're going to come from. And toss it. Pow, pow.
You're like, what the hell, dude?
I would kill them before they could even come around the corner.
Oh gosh, makes me want to play Black Ops.
No, don't.
Yeah, no, right, I'm not. But as Fortnite's still here, it's still very, it's thriving still. You got a new competitor from EA, surprisingly, and it's in the universe of Overwatch, which is another modern kind of gun game thing, but it's kind of RPG-esque, like MMORPG-esque shooter, where you have like teams of, I don't even know, what is it, like 5 or 6 in Overwatch that you fight against another team, and each person on the team's got a specific role. Like one guy's an aggro, one guy's a DPS, one guy's a fucking healer, just like you would in WoW, but it's all gun people, right? Right. Which is really cool. So this game's actually in the same universe as Overwatch, but it's a battle royale. It's called Apex Legends, and we'll watch Ninja play it. I played it. It's free, but it's pretty much the same concept. There's a big island. You start off, you fucking dive and crash into the island from way up above, and you start running around and killing. But their thing is they don't have solos, they don't have duos, they don't have 4 squads. It's just one game mode, and it's squads of 3. Nice. And you just go. This one's similar to Overwatch. Each character, there's right now there's only, I think it's either 6 or 8 characters you can choose from. Each of them has specific abilities to help you out in the match. They're not all based more on the Overwatch, more RPG elements. They're based more on think of I guess Mass Effect. Mass Effect is an action RPG as well, but this is or a shooter RPG. This is similar to that, where you have more tactical advantages. Some people have somebody can use a grapple. One guy can make clones of himself. One girl is more of a healer. I guess she's a medic, like a battle medic. Anyway, they all have kind of specifics, right? So it's pretty cool in that terms too. It seems pretty exciting, man. Like I said, I only played 1 round of it because I would like to play with some friends. It'd be fun. Going in with randos and the triple squad is not as fun when you can go with 2 of your homies, But the thing is, it's catching the eye of a lot of these big streamers right now, Ninja and all these other guys who are really into Fortnite. This Apex Legends game's pulling away. That's all I've seen Ninja stream for last week, dude.
Yeah. So
Fortnite devs are like, fuck. It's like a relationship almost. They're like, oh no, he's cheating on me, basically. He's cheating on us. Ninja is with Apex Legends.
Oh man.
Think about it. Fortnite or Epic put so much time and effort into Ninja and money and promotion and shit, but he still has branded himself as Ninja. Nothing with Fortnite. So for him just to jump ship is easy. Domino says friends make any game better. They really do. Especially ones that you can be competitive in. And shooter games are always fun. But yeah, man, isn't that pretty crazy that Ninjas is doing that now? Fortnite devs are probably freaking out.
Oh yeah.
They're probably like, oh fuck, what do we gotta get Ninja back. Granted, Ninja's probably still gonna play and do stuff with Fortnite. It's just funny to see him completely just being like. It's like that meme where it's the guy and the girl walking down the street, but the guy's looking back at the hot girl. You know that meme?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like that. But it's Ninja and Fortnite, and then he's looking back and Apex Legends is there. Yeah. Apex Legends is just what? Yeah, man. So fuck. We kind of blasted through our combo pretty quick tonight in terms of the individual games we wanted to talk about. As far as shooters, but that's kind of where we wanted to touch on, guys. Not only games that we enjoyed and played, but ones that set the standard for the industry and everything. I mean, is there anything else you would kind of want to delve into about shooting games, or anything maybe? Well, let me ask you this then. Where do you see the future of shooting games going, Robert?
I mean, I think it's VR for sure. I mean, that's all I see on YouTube is VR.
A lot of VR stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I can see VR shooters being a thing, man. I mean, think about laser tag. It's real life. Think about kind of integrating that concept with VR. Granted, you don't want people running around in dark moves with goggles on. They don't know where they're going in real space. But something can happen. I mean, they have those crazy, I'm sure you've seen them, those big harness ones where it's you're on it's like a round treadmill. it's like an omnidirectional treadmill pad, you know, and you're like standing up on it, and it's got a ring around you, so something you can grab on if you need to, and then you're bungeed into it, so you can just walk in place and turn and walk in any direction, you know, and you have your goggles on. Saw somebody do VR Skyrim in that, but you can do VR shooters in that.
Yeah.
Where it keeps you feel like you're walking, but you're in some kind of stationary thing where you physically aren't moving in space. You feel like you are, but you aren't. You know, that's what we would need, because you want to feel your physical body move while you're in VR. Unless we get to the point where we're in some crazy VR where you just lay back and it literally takes your mind into a VR realm.
Exactly.
That'll
you have to be able to. I mean, it's like almost like, man, imagine being able to experience something else. The most direct contact between your brain seeing and at some point feeling the experience around you, to where you're driving your own vehicle through your own universe.
Imagine Grand Theft Auto in VR. We didn't really touch on Grand Theft Auto tonight, mainly because it's kind of like it's a multi-faceted game, because you got cars too, but it's a shooter. I mean, all in all, you got weapons and you shoot people. It
became to the point. That's stupid. That sounds dumb. It came to the point where basically you have a first-person shooter within a 3D game.
Right.
You know.
Yeah, this is multifaceted. I mean, we had even, like, Domino brought up Rainbow Six Siege, which the Rainbow Six games and all the Tom Clancy games back in the day, they were more like one-player tacticals. But once multiplayer came out, they even figured out ways to make them multiplayer. And I know, Dom, you play Rainbow Six Siege all the time. I've seen one of my cousins play it too. The game's pretty freaking cool, what you can do multiplayer-wise. And that is a shooter. You're right, it's a multiplayer shooter. He also says, just imagine VR Skyrim. Yeah, I've seen some stuff. Imagine me being in it, though. Oh, man. There's some giant-ass dragons starting at you. Dude, it would be pretty nuts. Imagine the next Skyrim game in VR, right? Elder Scrolls 6 in VR. That'd be nuts. Oh, gosh. They already announced it. They just dropped a freaking Skyrim 6 PNG title card. Man. But they said it's going to be on the next system. So, I'd say VR would probably be the way. You know what you can also do too, bro? You could do AR in a facility, like a big warehouse, where you actually do physically run around, but you have AR goggles on instead of VR.
Yeah.
So certain enemies appear around corners, like, you know, gun enemies and stuff. I bet they'll set up stuff like that too. I bet there'll be a race between people trying to do VR shooters and make them more and more efficient and kind of encompassing, and people are going to be in the same thing with AR. People are going to buy warehouses and turn them to an AR gun game range where you come in, you start off, and you pick a level you want, and you fucking load into it, and it's just a big warehouse obstacle course, but you have AR goggles on, and there's a bunch of monsters running around.
It's amazing what games have come to.
It is, man.
Games have come to the point where they literally I don't know what it is.
He's a loss for words about video games.
Oh man, they're literally to the point where you're controlling another thing. Like in the past, they said, "Oh, the future will have flying cars." No, it's not really. Doesn't really make sense to have flying cars. But hey, let's put in a video game. Let's do that, and then now we can go into VR and experience a flying car. So in the future, we have flying cars. Yeah, I have solved the debuncle.
It's essentially we're creating another dimension. Exactly. At first, it was a dimension of escape based on story, narrative, and gameplay. But how's evolving now into entertainment? It's a way to entertain past entertaining person yourself. It's entertaining crowds of people versus esports to the point where it's going to be you're in the movie watching it and you're in the movie VR in that experience to the point where we are that experience. It is just another realm for us to not only test things out. I mean, shit, you could wake up in the morning and be like, I'm gonna run a simulation on what's happening today at fucking 4 times speed. You can see a simulation of everything that could possibly happen and be like, okay, well, that was a good way of testing out what the day could be like, and now I'm gonna go. And then you go into your day, and then you come home and hook up to VR and get your D wet by some fucking VR babe.
Oh gosh.
It's crazy, man. AR Mario Kart, that'd be sweet, dude. Throwing like, and of course, have like the carts that have like the bumpers at like the ticket places where you can, or like the, you know, the go-kart plate tracks where like if you hit each other, you're not gonna have a giant wreck. But yeah, dude, AR Mario Kart would be sweet. Have like AR shells, you can throw shells and
go AR Mario Kart would be super sweet.
Yeah, it would, dude. That'd be so much fun, bro.
I mean, that'd be really cool because then you'd be able to like look over at people and be like, flick them off.
Yes. That'd be great. Well, think about it, dude. Some of the first ARs they can really get into if they do the warehouse kind of idea, they can do an AR GoldenEye 007 and just set up all the old school levels in like different warehouse rooms.
That would be cool.
That'd be tight. So you're reliving the old school levels, but you're actually controlling it.
Yeah, the only big obstacle they would even have is like just trying to be able to feel that experience go up and down. Like, you know, like if you're in a warehouse or something, like you'd be able to do steps, right?
Yeah, because if it's AR, you would still see the real world around you. You would just have like ammo chests up here you can go pick up, or like the guns on the ground, you know. You would see the enemies in AR. You would see like all that stuff. They can put more graphics up on certain parts of the room. Like,
yeah.
Basically, it's just you build a room and you have it mapped out, and then you have this whatever system you're doing the AR with to map out where things are going to be once the people put on the goggles. And then through the goggles, it just adds a layer over it, a composite it's based on where the person's at in the room. So it'd be a lot to do. It'd be a lot to figure out something like that. But I feel like they could do that. I feel like that would be at least the more realistic than VR, at least feeling like you're there at first, except you'd still be in the real world. Somebody could still like open up the warehouse door and be like, get the fuck out, and you just be like, oh. You know, where VR, you're kind of like, somebody would have to literally come up and move the goggles off your head completely and be like, yo, the fucking house is on fire, whatever, you know? So maybe it comes down to them eventually combining the two things together, AR, VR somehow.
I think it could be.
VR, virtual augmented reality.
Virtually augment me, please.
Virtually augmented. So yeah, man, I would say I would agree. The next step in shooters after this battle royale, the next big gap. I'm not talking like just the next wave. The next big gap, tsunami, if you so to speak, of shooting game will be with VR. It'll be something along those lines for sure. Once we can just jump into it like that. I mean, shit, imagine a VR battle royale. I mean, anything's possible, right, guys? But I think all in all, we said what we needed to say about some shooting games, guys, and we're going to go kick it for the rest of the evening, and I hope you guys kick it and take it easy as well. Thanks for joining us here on the PanNerdia Podcast, as always, episode 6, by the way. So, yeah, we hope to see you guys here next Monday. I do want to make a special announcement for PanNerdia. I didn't mention this last night over on the PanNerdia YouTube channel during a live recording of the Walker Talkers, our Walking Dead review show. Though not a lot of our Twitch followers are over there. But we did want to reiterate our special announcement we had last night. Pete says, AR Donkey Kong? Think about it. You could do like jumping over barrels and stuff. Yeah, bloop, bloop, bloop. Like you're in the perspective of Mario and the barrel's rolling at you.
I feel like they tried that out with like Me Resort and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah.
Like those sort of it wasn't 3D. You had no like look around, you know.
Right.
Once you can be that character, you know, just looking around,
right. Like Wreck-It Ralph style.
That's going to be the first one. And we've seen movies about that. You know?
Yeah, we have. Tron. But, yeah, guys, special announcement, though. On Sunday, February 17th, we will be celebrating here on Twitch, as well as YouTube, the 1-year PanNerdia special. That's right.
Oh, boy.
The 1-year anniversary of PanNerdia. Sunday on the 17th. Pete says PanNerdia Super Sunday Fun Day. Kapow. You know it. Badoosh.
Kabloom.
On this special day, Sunday the 17th, PanNerdia will be starting the day at 10 a.m. with a painting sesh from 10 to noon. I will bring a tentative schedule out on the tweets for you. But starting from 10 to noon, I'll be doing a painting sesh, whatever painting I'm on, or starting a new one depending on. But starting with some art, of course, the kind of the core of PanNerdia. After that, we'll be jumping into, after a nice hour lunch break, and we'll be jumping into a 2-hour gaming sesh. What games we're playing, I don't know. You have to come join and stay tuned to find out. But we'll do a nice 2-hour game sesh, take another little mini break, jump in with a, mini podcast / discussion of some sort. That'll be a lot of fun. After that, again, another little mini break, 30 minutes, and we're going to jump in with one of our favorites here on the PanNerdia channel. A little special live blast-tacular for everybody, because we had such a blast doing that series, and I've had fun opening cards since then. So we're definitely going to be opening some cards on the 1-year anniversary.
Nice.
And then once we're done with that, I'll make another special announcement that evening, and we'll end our Twitch marathon, move over about an hour later to the YouTubes for the nightcap that is The Walker Talkers, The Walking Dead Season 9, Episode 9 review. When is this? Sorry, missed the date. Oh, it's okay, Dom. It's going to be this Sunday, February 17th, the PanNerdia 1-year anniversary. I'm going to literally stream on Twitch from 10 to 6 straight through. And then I'm going to jump over to YouTube to finish with my Walking Dead review show. And in between our sessions, so when I have the hour going, in between the first thing and then the 30-minute segments, I'm basically going to be throwing up PanNerdia select episodes from different series. That sounds like such a dork. Yeah, so I'm going to throw up, episodes from some of our favorite YouTube shows, from the Tomb Raider playthrough to some Red Dead to some of our old Blast-tacular videos, to some of the old time lapses, all sorts of stuff like that. If you're lucky, and if I get time, I'll compile a compilation of some of my favorite moments as well. But if I don't get time to that, that'll come a later date. But at least you guys know you'll have the select episodes to keep you busy in between sessions that day. The stream will still be running. You'll just have select episodes and things to keep you busy until we're back on for the next form of entertainment. So it's going to be a blast, guys. You'll see everybody from me to Robert to Raider Pete. Might get somebody like my cousin Derek to come over. I don't know. We'll see. But regardless, I will be here streaming for you guys, blasting away PanNerdia style with everything that's brought us to this point. Just to touch back on it and kind of ring in the new year. Because you know what? A lot of this has been working towards KamehaCon and getting ready for that. And a lot of it's still going to be that until the date of April 12th. But after that, man, PanNerdia will bloom. This is its liftoff point with KamehaCon. And I think once all this stuff kind of culminates, it's going to come out and be a really cool product for you guys, if you're not already interested.
And everybody knows that you work your ass off.
Well, I appreciate that, man.
You do a great job.
I try, man. I know I don't have all the eyes I want yet, but I appreciate every single one of you who have given me your time, stopped by, and enjoyed the enjoyment with me. And I appreciate people like my cousin Robert and Raider Pete, and even you, Domino, for stopping by and hanging out. I appreciate all you guys for being a part of this, Domino even says, hell yeah, I'm mostly free since school is off Monday. We'll try to watch as much as possible. I'm really excited. Yeah, man, you can jump on any time. I'll be going literally from 10 a.m. with a painting session and going all the way until about 6:30 on Twitch, and then jumping over to YouTube to finish it off with a Walker Talkers live sesh. So it's gonna be fun, man, and to have the people there who've helped me make it happen is gonna be great, and I couldn't ask for anything better. So I want to thank you guys, and I'm hoping, and I think it is. I know it is. It's gonna be a blast of a day on the 1-year anniversary. So we'll see you guys there. Otherwise, I'll see you guys here tomorrow night to continue the Super Saiyan Blue Kaioken Goku vs. Hit, all in preparation for KamehamehaCon 2019. You guys will hear more about that, of course, as we go. So yeah, there it is, guys. PanNerdia Podcast number 6 down the drain. Announcements done.
6.
Boom, 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 boom. Wipe our hands off. Clear plow. You want to send us off, Robert?
I'll tell you what. Thank you, everybody, for coming and joining us. This is definitely, these games we grew up with. They're a part of our, upbringing. They're a part of our imagination, So, I mean, you can see that, that some of these video games are very immersive. Some of them only focus on small aspects of, gaming in general. All of them are still a part of our upbringing as gamers, and we love them all.
We do, and we're excited for the future because at this point, man, I think people are starting to get a hint that gaming's not going anywhere, and either are we. All right, you guys, I'm a dork, I know. You guys have a good night. God damn it.
See you guys.
Peace.